Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So for those of you that are new here, my name is Lynn Taggart. I'm a realtor here in the Oklahoma City area, and I make these YouTube videos to try and help folks understand what this place is all about. And you know what? Surprise, surprise, for a variety of reasons, lots of folks are wanting to move to Oklahoma these days. Yes, as hard as it is for some out there to believe, some people are excited about ditching where they're living now and making Oklahoma their new home. I'm talking to you folks out there out west. Yeah, you folks in the upper Midwest and heck, even Texas. Check out these videos here and here to see what I mean. As you can see on the migration map, this one's from Redfin. These are the states where a lot of our newcomers are coming from these days, heading to Oklahoma for a fresh start. Oklahoma has a lot of things going for it that are draws for many who simply have had it where they're living now. Things like our low cost of living, our affordable housing prices, our friendly people, and heck, even our conservative values, to name a few. But one strike against the state, and especially important if you're moving here and have kids, is how poorly rated our public schools are. How bad are they? Short answer, pretty bad. We come in ranked at number 48 compared to the rest of the country. Well, at least we're not last. I talk about our ranking in this video here. Yeah, there's a few school districts here in the state, public school districts, that outshine the rest, but they're the exception and not the rule. School districts like Edmond and Deer Creek in the Oklahoma City area come to mind. I talk about a few of them here in this video about the rankings of schools in the Oklahoma City metro area. So, we've established that public schools here in general are mediocre at best, but what about private schools in the area? Completely different story. Academic standards and performance at most of these private schools in the Oklahoma City area are top tier, standing toe-to-toe with some of the best private schools in the U.S. And many of these schools have a well-earned reputation for maintaining these high standards year after year. Why send your kid to a private school? Well, first of all, duh, you have to have the money to afford it. Secondly, you want to insulate them from the craziness taking place in public schools today, and believe me, my wife's a public school teacher here, and the stories I could tell. But I'll save that rant for another day. And third, probably most importantly, you want to equip your child with the best education possible to hopefully pave the way for admissions to some of the top tier colleges and universities around the U.S. So my idea for this video came from a client who's moving here from Ohio for a lot of the reasons mentioned above, who reached out to me after subscribing to my channel. He'll be moving here this spring, was keenly interested in researching private schools in the area for his two kids. Well, I looked around, I couldn't find a video on the topic of private schools in the Oklahoma City area to refer him to. So you know what? What the heck? I'll just make one. And hence this video was born. I figure if one person is seeking out this info, there's others out there as well. Well, at least I hope that's the case. Just like this gentleman, if you'd like to reach me to talk about a possible move, you can phone, text, or email me. My contact information is shown down below. I'd love to talk to you. Now, before we dive into the discussion, could you do me a huge favor, please? And hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell to be alerted when I post new content. Doing so really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and frankly, it keeps me motivated to keep making these little jewels. So I would greatly appreciate your help on this. Okay, so we're going to do a private school overview here in the Oklahoma City area. But for this video, to keep it to a reasonable length, I'm only going to focus on what I consider to be the top 5 private schools in the Oklahoma City area that meet these criteria. 1, they teach up to and including the 12th grade level. 2, they have sufficient enrollment numbers to be meaningful. And 3, they have a long and established tradition of excellence. In other words, they've been around a long time. So if you're familiar with Oklahoma City's private schools, comment down below. I'm curious if you think I hit the mark with my selections you're about to hear. Oh, and stick around until the end because I'm throwing in a 6th choice. One other private school that's fairly new but didn't quite make the cut. Now in this video, just a caveat that I'm not going to cover charter schools, another popular concept here in central Oklahoma, or cover the topic of homeschooling. And there's a ton of kids in Oklahoma that are homeschooled. All right, let's kick things off. Number 1, Casady School, the Cyclones. So let's start off with the bluest of the blue blood private schools in Oklahoma City, where all the old money families have educated their children for decades. Casady was founded in 1947, has a beautiful campus in northwest Oklahoma City, and it's affiliated with the Episcopal Church. Casady had an enrollment of just under 1,000 students last I checked. Average annual tuition here runs about $22,000 per year. According to niche.com, Casady gets an overall A+ rating and is ranked as the #1 private high school in Oklahoma, the #1 best college prep high school in Oklahoma, and the #1 best private school in Oklahoma. not too shabby. Student academic and test performance is top tier. Average SAT score is 1400, average ACT is 29. Students from Casady attend some of the most prestigious colleges in the U.S. And to illustrate that fact, our former next-door neighbor's son attended Casady. He scored a perfect 36 on his ACT. How about that? Undoubtedly a very bright kid, and he just recently graduated from MIT with plans to do postgraduate work at Harvard. And our neighbor Michael is not the exception. A lot of Casady grads follow similar academic paths. Coming right on the heels of Casady is number 2, Heritage Hall, the Chargers. Heritage Hall, where all the nouveau riche in Oklahoma City sends their kids, is another top private school located in northwest Oklahoma City. Casady's arch rival, Heritage Hall, is one of the few secular private co-ed schools in Oklahoma. Founded in 1969 in the basement of a local church, Heritage Hall now boasts an average enrollment of 910 students. Average annual tuition at Heritage Hall runs slightly less than Casady at $19,000 per year. Still, that's a lot of money. Heritage Hall's claim to fame is its athletic programs, with the Chargers having won championships in multiple sports over the years. Formerly the New England Patriots and Denver Broncos, the NFL's great Wes Welker is a Heritage Hall graduate. Every year, the big rivalry football game in the private school sector in Oklahoma City that's lovingly referred to, and I have to chuckle, the Polo Bowl, is the annual matchup between Casady and Heritage Hall, the clash of the prepsters. You get the idea. Heritage Hall also earns a niche.com overall rating of A+. Ranking-wise, Heritage Hall falls just a tad short of Casady's rankings, coming in at number 4 as the best private high school in the state, and at number 3 as the best private school in the state. Now, like Casady, academic and test performance is top-notch at Heritage Hall, with an average SAT of 1330 and an average ACT of 28. And just like Casady, Heritage Hall sends students to all the big-name top-tier colleges around the U.S. All right, so moving down the list, we come to number 3, Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School, the Fighting Irish. Founded in 1950, McGuinness is the go-to high school in Oklahoma City for Catholic families wanting a top-tier education for their kids. Many of my college friends are part of what they refer to as the McGuinness Mafia, as alumni like to call themselves. Enrollment at the school currently stands at 717 students. Average tuition runs a little less than Casady and Heritage Hall at $15,000 per year. Now, when it comes to athletics, no one holds a candle to Bishop McGuinness in Oklahoma City. The Fighting Irish, as they're called, gee, I wonder where they came up with that mascot, excel across all sports, and especially in football, having produced notable players that went on to star at the University of Oklahoma and other D1 programs around the country. To highlight that fact, niche.com awarded McGuinness an overall rating of A+, just like Casady and Heritage Hall, and rated McGuinness as the number 1 best high school in Oklahoma, public or private, for athletes. Academically, it's no slouch either, coming in at number 2 as the best Catholic high school in Oklahoma, and at number 7 as the best private high school in Oklahoma. Average test scores here are also right up there, coming in at 1270 on the SAT and an average of 28 on the ACT. McGuinness also sends its graduates on to all the big-name colleges and universities around the country. A long tradition of excellence is the calling card of Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School. Number 4, Mount St. Mary Catholic High School, also known as the Rockets. Talk about old school. Mount St. Mary is literally an old school with a long history to go along with it. Mount St. Mary, lovingly referred to as the Mount, was founded in 1903, 4 years before Oklahoma was even a state. And believe it or not, it was founded as a girls' boarding school. It became a co-ed day school beginning in 1950. Sponsored jointly by the Sisters of Mercy and the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Oklahoma City, the Mount currently has around 400 students. Average tuition here is substantially less than the other schools previously mentioned, running about $8,350 per year. While not as highly ranked as the others just mentioned, Mount St. Mary's earns a niche.com overall rating of A and comes in as the number 4 best Catholic high school in Oklahoma. And, owing largely due to its proximity to downtown Oklahoma City, it ranked as the 9th most diverse private high school in Oklahoma. Average test scores at Mount St. Mary's lag only slightly behind the others mentioned, with an average SAT score of 1140 and an average ACT of 26. The Mount graduates attend prominent colleges and universities across the region. In fact, my roommate, my freshman year at the University of Oklahoma, was a proud graduate of Mount St. Mary's. A little less well known than the others on this list, but a great school and a great history nonetheless. Now, rounding out the list at number 5, Crossings Christian School. They're known as the Knights. So Crossings Christian School, what we call them Crossings for short, is a relative newcomer to the private school scene in Oklahoma City, having been founded in the year 2000, when the school was started with just 39 preschoolers. This K-12 school is located in far north Oklahoma City on the grounds of Crossings Community Church and is affiliated with the Association of Christian Schools International. Numerous newly constructed buildings make up the school's campus today, including a new football stadium and gymnasium. Always lots of new construction going on at Crossings. Current enrollment is a little more than 1,100 students. Average tuition here is higher than Mount St. Mary's, averaging about $10,700 per year. Ranking-wise, niche.com gives Crossings an overall rating of A and lists the school as the 5th best Christian school in the state and the 9th best private school in the state. Average test scores of Crossings students are right up there with some of the other private schools just mentioned, with an average SAT score of 1,200 and an average ACT score of 28. And much like Mount St. Mary's, Crossings graduates also attend many prestigious schools across the Midwest. We know Crossings well, as my wife used to teach at Crossings at the high school level. My next door neighbor's kids currently attend there, and we know several faculty members and administrators. It's a school that's growing rapidly and also has a very good reputation locally. All right, so let's talk about the bonus school that I promised you at the outset. There's one reason primarily that this school didn't make the cut, which I'll discuss in a little bit. So I'm talking here about Oklahoma Christian School, OCS for short, in Edmond, Oklahoma. It's located just east off I-35, just down the road from the Route 66 Round Barn in Arcadia and nearby Pop's 66 Soda Ranch. OCS was founded in 1970 and in 1976 had its first graduating class of just 13 students. Just like Crossings Christian School, OCS is affiliated with the Association of Christian Schools International. Today, the school has an enrollment of just over 1,000 students. Now, OCS's most famous alum is none other than the great NBA player Blake Griffin. Blake was a 2007 graduate who went on to start at OU before turning pro. Now, during his time at OCS, the school dominated, winning Class 2A basketball titles during the 05-06 season and the 06-07 seasons, with none other than his father Tommy as the head coach. Now, cost-wise, tuition rates at OCS are similar to the other schools mentioned, with average tuition slightly less than $9,000 per year. Ranking-wise, niche.com gives OCS an overall rating of B and ranks OCS as the 30th best Christian school in the state. Those rankings right there are why it didn't make the top 5. Now, despite the fairly low ranking, OCS's students' test scores are very competitive and higher than some of the other private schools just mentioned. Average SAT score at OCS is 1,300 and average ACT score is 27. Like the others mentioned above, it has a great reputation and it too is steadily growing in size. So there you have it, a quick overview of the finest private schools in the Oklahoma City area, from a couple of old money choices to several fairly recent newcomers to the private school scene. Hopefully this overview will help you zero in on a great school choice for your family. I should reiterate that all of these, with the lone exception being Heritage Hall, have some sort of religious affiliation, which probably shouldn't come as a surprise to most. Now, I know a little something about all of these schools, and they all have great reputations, so no worries there. However, this kind of top-tier education, as you could tell, doesn't come cheap. But hey, if your budget can afford it, any of these would be a great place for your children's education. Now, if you're like my client and researching this topic because you're considering a move here, I would encourage you to pick up the phone and give me a call, or just send me a text or an email. I'd love to talk to you. My contact information is shown down below. I'd love to talk to you about any of these schools I just mentioned, or really from a broader perspective, I'd love to talk to you just about what it's like living here. And we can discuss how I can help you with your upcoming move. Admittedly, if you're thinking about moving here, one thing I'll warn you about in advance, Oklahoma City is really spread out. And so to help you zero in on which suburb might be right for you, check out this video right here. In the meantime, would you do me a gigantic favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons? And as I mentioned previously, doing so lets the YouTube algorithm know that, you know what, you're enjoying the content I'm putting out, which helps my channel get exposure before a wider audience. At least that's the hope anyway. Also, hit the little notification bell to be alerted when I post new content. And comment down below. Did you or perhaps a family member attend one of these schools? I'm curious to hear about your experiences, both good and the bad. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Keep watching as I'll keep posting more videos very soon. Until then, everyone, take care. Adios.